all started the evening of January 7th, as powerful wind gusts, 70 to 90 miles per hour, stoking a fire in Eaton Canyon into an inferno, so strong it couldn't be contained. Over 7,000 structures destroyed, at least 14,000 acres burned, and 16 lives lost.
Amazing singers definitely in the car in here, making us actually sound being Winnie and Jason. Happy birthday to ya. All right. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. All right. Happy birthday.
The embers were sleeping over house. People were in the didn't know no fire, sleeping. What did make it right here?
This is the most expensive fire in Southern California history.
Eaton is more expensive than Palisades Fire?
To combine. This is an empty lot. Clearly there was a house here and plenty of backyard space. Altadena is known for its orange groves, so you're looking at orange groves back there that are partially charred, but hey, they still hanging on.
Wow.
So these lots were sizable. With most of these homes are single family homes or what we call bungalows. 2 bedroom, 1 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Lots of people remodeled and added on to their lot, but as you can see, it's gone.
Can you please tell me your Eaton fire story? It's hard.
On January 7th, like everyone, like me and my family had no idea what was ahead of us in less than 24 hours.
My Eaton fire story starts off with evacuating.
It sounds like a freight train is coming through the trees here. Like here comes another one. You can hear it kind of building as it starts. And then these winds.
When the fires came, about 4 o'clock in the morning, having to get my wife and my daughter out of the house. We own 2 homes, five dwellings, 2 homes, and my mother lives next door also. So had to get my mother out as well. My cousin PJ lives down the street, comes running down about almost 4 o'clock in the morning, like, hey, I think it's on the street now. We run to the corner, look, we see fire balls hitting houses. Still can't comprehend what's going on. Run back to the house, rush, grab my wife, daughter, wake them up, say, hey, we gotta go. Get them all packed up, put them in the car. Now we have to get my mother, so now we're frantically running over there. To get my mother out because she's disabled, we have to go down steps. She doesn't walk.
You know, we were right across the street from where the fire started. And I had a friend in our complex. I live in a condo complex with 48 units. And so one of my friends in the complex called me at 12 o'clock and said, God has been telling me to pack a bag. And she says, I finally packed a bag and put it in the car. And I'm thinking, it's windy. Why are we packing a bag? You know, I hadn't lived up there long enough. I didn't know enough about wind and fire up in this area. And so she had to talk to me a long time. And finally she said, the worst thing that could happen is that you packed a bag, you put it in the car, and you don't need it, and you have to unpack. So I finally stomped around the house, packed a little bit of something, just basically something to recreate our financial footprint, because I figured clothes and things like that we can replace if something happened, in which I didn't think anything was going to happen.
Truly came up so quickly. So many folks up here really didn't even have time to grab anything. They had to just jump. Here comes one of these gusts we're talking about. Yep, these things are so strong. I have covered a lot of fires in my time out here in Southern California, and I have to tell you, I've not experienced one.
My son, who lives there also, and my sister, they said they were leaving earlier, so it wasn't even a thought. And even in the wake of all of this, you're still not, there's no thought of the houses are gonna burn down. You're really running from, even though you're seeing what you're seeing, you're really just trying to get out for the smoke. So I was literally just leaving for the morning to go, okay, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, we'll come back and get stuff or whatever in the morning after it's daylight.
I remember it very distinctly. You know, everything was going on in the Palisades, and I remember thinking to myself, like, oh, you know, I'm expressing concern and, you know, hoping that everyone was going to be safe. And then later that evening, the fire sparked in Eaton Canyon. And I actually live west of Lake Avenue, which is the dividing line in Altadena, Pasadena. And my husband arrived home somewhere around 8 o'clock that evening. We had dinner, as we normally do, got ready to go to bed, and somewhere around, I don't know, 9:30 or so, we started getting alerts. And I remember he said, well, let me go to the corner and see what's going on. And so he left. I went upstairs and I looked out the window and I could see like the orange glow on the horizon, and I was just thinking in my head, like, it's not supposed to look that close. And he called me, and he was running down the street. He basically said, you know, let's go. He saw a tree on fire that like had come, the fire was coming over the horizon, and he said, let's go. He said, just throw whatever you can into the light, we're going. And so he just pulled his truck in, and we left somewhere around 10 o'clock, and we went to my mother's house, who was right below the freeway in Pasadena.
We go to my cousin Rasan's house, or good friend, we call everybody cousins, who lived by John Muir. He happened to be out of town. He was like, well, if anything, you know, you have the place, you have the keys. So then I ended up moving my whole family there. As we were leaving, I noticed that my sister's car was still there, but she has 2 cars. So I was like, maybe she drove her other car and left. Knew my son already said he left, so it wasn't a thought. Next day, coming back, couldn't get in touch with certain people, and then, like, my sister's a bit of a recluse, so I was just like, you know what, I wonder. And then, because I kept seeing visions of her car when I woke up, so then, just to make sure, I was like, nah. I had my cousin, he came up, and he was like, do you want me to check and find, to just make sure she's not there. The first time it was the police, but the ground was still smoldering. So it was like I had to wait hours to see, and then my cousin was like, I'll go up there. And then he went up there, and he ended up finding her, literally, like through. So we were the first ones to have a death in Altadena, because we literally found her the next day.
It just, and then some houses have been remodeled in the last decade, and so new equipment, flame resistant, so some houses were going to stand.
I'm looking at
because
that house
they were
in the
updated.
back. Like those, it just looks
Right.
normal.
Right.
It's untouched.
It's untouched, but if we go around the corner, you might see something else.
Yeah, and even maybe next door or the front.
People were sleeping,
Yes.
and did not know their house was on fire. Laying in bed, garage on fire, living room on fire. It was so quiet. I mean, the wind was loud.
Right.
That's all you could hear.
Yeah.
But people didn't know until they smelled smoke, came out the house, looked out the window. Oh my God,
Yeah.
It's like through the night.
Yeah. It's terrifying. And
Yeah.
for it to be in the middle of the night.
Yes.
It's the most
And you didn't
dangerous
know what
time.
was going on unless you
Right.
had the mind to like go to your car, charge your phone, or you had a bunch of batteries or generators.
Because the power was also out.
The power was out 12 hours.
It went out in
Internet
the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no fire alert system. There's nothing because this
No.
They're
is
supposed to be,
right.
but not like a loud alert, but there's supposed to be an alert system. It ended up being the sheriff driving around, knocking on doors.
Wow.
driving down the streets that they could.
That they could get down.
That they could get down
Yeah.
on the loudspeaker trying to wake people up.
Right.
But it was the willingness of people in our community to actually get up and knock on doors. Our neighbor came and knocked on our door.
Wow.
Yeah. And I kept calling everybody on my block that I had their numbers to leave.
And how close is your block? Because you two live near each other.
Yes,
How
I'm a
close
few
are you?
blocks up the street, and then she's maybe two blocks
blocks
west
over.
of me. Yeah.
And the only reason we left that day is because we had a 4-year-old. When the lights went out, she was uncomfortable with the winds.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to talk her out of leaving, but we left way earlier in the day. Right when
And
the sun was
where
going
did you
down.
shelter during the fire?
We just got a hotel. We were like, we'll just go somewhere where we can just like relax. Whenever it's windy, like I can't sleep anyway because you hear things and you like wake up and you're like, what was that? And it's like your neighbor's umbrella.
And we had a big giant oak that would like kind of go over the house, so make it even riskier. Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah. You all have that sign, "We saved ourselves." Why do you have that there?
So, so the fire, okay. So I came back that morning when the winds were still going. When I first turned down this street, I saw a fire truck, but they were just driving past and kind of like, they gave me a look of,
What can we do?
hands up. I came back and I finally found a way to get here because all these houses were on fire. And neighbors were outside in their chonies, throwing stuff in their car while their backs of their houses were on fire. And so it was like so I was coming back thinking I had time to grab some stuff, and I didn't. And so we were all evacuating, getting out. We came back the next day, and there were still some houses standing that hadn't burnt, but firefighters were, even though there wasn't winds, firefighters were still not putting out fires. The National Guard was there to keep us out, and we weren't able to identify and tell the firefighters, hey, that house is on fire. We got to this house, and there was a gas line that was still up. And we asked a firefighter in passing, hey, this house over here is still up. And we got a 4-foot flame here, we got a 4-foot flame here, we got a 4-foot flame here. Can you help us turn off the gas? And the answer to them was, it's not our business, it's not our problem. It's not our job.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where we get that. Recently,
There was no evacuation notice. We weren't even in a warning zone. Like I watched it, like I lived in the Midwest, and so, when a tornado is coming, you go into a yellow, so you know to be on alert. And then when it's nearby, you need to get in your shelter, it's red. So I remember watching we weren't even yellow. It was just high wind warning. We were watching it on that Watch Duty app, and then it was like instantly at 3 a.m. from that to like red, the whole area. I was like, what's going on? Why would we be like that quickly evacuated? So I told him to go get our dogs, so we had left. And at 3, he said I think it was too smoky for him to really see how close it was, but he got the dogs. He didn't grab anything again.
yeah, sorry, that's my bad.
Is there anything left from inside your house?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Photos,
Everything. My
Yeah.
dad's ashes. We couldn't find
Yeah,
them.
nothing.
Like all of my birth photos, everything. So I mean.
So the Santa Ana winds are basically kind of like a wind event that takes place in Southern California. It's just essentially due to when we get an area of high pressure usually to kind of build over the Great Basin states. So that's Nevada and like western Utah. And then a usually like lower pressure to the south. And it's basically the pressure difference between high pressure to the north and low pressure to the south that causes a northeast wind over Southern California.
And we ended up getting evacuated from there around 5 o'clock, 5:30 in the morning. And when we left, we just left. And so we attempted to go back and get our cars, which were both in the garage at our house. And we could not get past Woodbury, which is the main street heading in from Pasadena into Altadena. It was just so smoky. We could see the cemetery on fire. And there was just no way we could safely get back to our house. So we just turned around and went back to my parents' house, and we all evacuated, my parents, my twin sister, and we went to her house in Ontario. And eventually we came back to Altadena the next day, Wednesday afternoon, to see what was going on, and we just saw everything on fire. We were able to get up to our house. We saw the whole street on fire. There were no firefighters, no emergency personnel, except for keeping people from going up into the neighborhoods. And we just had no idea that we would be coming back to essentially nothing. It was just a very harrowing experience, and I don't think it's something that any of us in the community will get over anytime soon, because just the depth and breadth of the impacts of the fire is just so widespread. I was born and raised in Pasadena my whole life. Went away to college, came back very intentionally, and just to see essentially all of Altadena gone, and even parts of Pasadena, is just devastating. I don't think there has been a day yet where I haven't cried.
The mortgage crisis really tore up Altadena.
Yeah.
Because people our age weren't prepared to take their parents' homes. They weren't prepared. I lucked out to help my dad get out of his subprime mortgage. But yeah. And then a lot of black families left in the late 90s to go further east to Rancho, Fontana. Because they had new builds and
everybody wants something new.
And they were cheap, dirt cheap. So you could get more bang for your buck, a larger home.
Tell us where we are.
This is the block, the block where I grew up, where we grew up, where we were raised, in this house right here.
This was your home growing up?
This is the house we were brought to fresh from the hospital. This is where we grew up, all of our childhood memories right here. Friends with everybody on the block, same makeup, 2-parent households, bunch of kids. Stayed out and played till the street lights came on.
And you were saying
fond memories.
You were saying, Natalie, that this was the block. You all knew all these families.
Yeah, we knew all the families. We named the houses. Yes,
named
after
the
families.
Yes, tell us the houses
that were first here. This was the Huff house, the Huff family, the Swains, the Johnsons, and I can't remember their last name, but this family here, they had foster kids.
Right.
3 foster boys. I can't remember their name, but we all took care of each other.
Yes.
Yeah. We borrowed milk, eggs, we watched kids, we played, all that.
Everything on this block.
All that.
And it was a black block, basically.
It was.
All black.
All black families.
Not anymore. It's gentrified since then.
Oh, yeah.
Very much so.
My family is the last black family on this block.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then which of y'all said you met your husband?
I met my husband right next
Nicole
door.
met her husband right here. Y'all come walk over. We gotta see that. We gotta see where the romance began.
1996, my future husband moved in as a single father.
Okay.
With 3 sons.
Okay.
And my mother bogarted him and got all of his details to let all the ladies in our house know who was living next door.
Yes.
And I got him.
Yes.
Some years later.
Okay.
Some years later. Now we've been married 14 years.
Yeah.
And we have a 5-year-old son.
I love that. That's a great love story. Well, let's talk about what happened, because these homes look like they, from the outside, that they're okay.
They do look like they're okay, but as you can see, no one is living in them.
No one's living in them.
Yeah, the wind really got us pretty bad.
Let's walk over this way, because so when the fire started, it was late at night.
Yes.
Did you all, because these look like they're still standing, so did you see fire?
Oh yeah, the fire came from the east. This is pretty much the fire line. There are some houses that burned, about 6 houses that burned behind me, and from my backyard on toward her house. But for pretty much, this is pretty much where the fire stopped. And so we thought we were going to burn, because the houses across the street were fully engulfed and the wind was blowing so hard. The embers were going. This tree, which is now showing green, very resilient, that tree caught on fire.
Yeah.
And it looked like it wasn't going to work out for us, but the neighbors put it out. When I got back to check to see if my house was here, I saw water hoses connected all around the house, and the roof was wet, so I know that my house was hosed down by some friendly neighbors who wanted to save the neighborhood.
And just to be clear, this is the house still standing, and then PJ, flip around, turn around, those are gone.
Yes, those 2 houses.
So literally the fire was across the street.
It was across the street.
All the way down. And all the way down.
No houses standing 5 blocks down. Yeah.
And so now, how has that impacted how the system is treating you?
Well, they're kind of scooping me out of the fire damage zone. My house is not considered part of the Eaton fires because it looks untouched.
Right.
But when you go inside, you see
the devastation of the fires. You see the devastation of the wind. My roof was pretty much blown off on the back. So
Can we go in?
I don't know if you want to go in there. There's a lot of mold right now because the first rains we got after the fire, we didn't know the roof was compromised so bad. So the house flooded. And because insurance has been taking so long, we're almost 6 months out, it's starting to mold in there. Okay. And so there is threat of asbestos because I still have my parents' popcorn ceilings in some of the rooms. So they really don't want anybody in there. Yeah.
So your damage is mold, smoke,
soot, ash.
And ash.
Yes.
And that's the damage here.
Yes.
And so how is that not considered fire damage?
Great question.
I was told that my roof was old and it was neglected. And so because my roof was old and neglected, any kind of wind could have ruined my roof. It had nothing to do with 100-mile-per-hour winds.
And could ash have been caused just by wind?
Oh no.
Because one would think ash comes from fire.
No, that's neglect.
Okay. And so how has that impacted getting assistance from insurance, getting assistance from the city, the state?
Well, they're trying to say that we're just trying to get money because we live in Altadena. Yeah, we're just trying to scoop ourselves into the real devastation of the Eaton Fire. That was across the street.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, we're what, 200 feet from
less
fires, and then not to mention the houses that burned from my backyard.
Right.
So I'm sandwiched in, and when you look at the fire map, you can see that there's fire all around my house. So we got it north, south, east, west.
So it's almost as if it's not clear whether it's worse to have been in the fire, have your home engulfed, or to have your home next door, because next door there's even less help.
Right.
So are you having the same issue?
Our issue is a little different. Our claim is fire damage because our windows flew out of our house. That's how strong the winds were. And so ashes just covered the whole house.
Claiming covered the whole interior of the house.
House.
Right.
We have roofing damage, and so we are just waiting on insurance to...
Do you both feel you have to completely rebuild, or can you repair?
It's up in the air.
It's up in the air, yeah.
It's so toxic in there that I don't know if I could bring my children back.
That's the same issue I have.
Yeah, and we're still awaiting test results.
Yeah.
So
to see whether it's safe to even be inside that
right.
house.
Yeah. It doesn't smell safe.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel safe when you're inside. So
I don't know. To me, it's almost more of a torment to be able to see your house and not be able to go inside.
It is. Yeah.
I try not to take my son because he misses
his
the house.
room, his home. Yeah.
So when we go pick up the mail, I try to drop
my
him
kids
off.
haven't been here either.
Haven't been back.
No.
Because it'll trigger a meltdown.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because they want to go inside.
They do, and it doesn't look the same. And they ransacked the rooms, and
so your house was broken into.
Oh yeah, yeah, it was broken into.
And so looters took whatever you had in the house.
Yes. High price, high ticket items is what they were after, and my identity. So and that's how I knew my house was looted, because my bank account started being drained. They had gotten an old ATM card and started draining my account. That's how I knew something was wrong.
So it's just abuse on top of devastation.
Yes.
Just a few blocks over, there was people who stole the identity of the whole block.
The whole block.
And got hundreds of thousands of dollars from FEMA in all the people's names.
There's a lot of fundraising going on naming Altadena. Mm-hmm. What's happening to that money?
That money is going to these pop-up nonprofits, and we're uncertain if the nonprofits are getting the money in the hands of the residents for rebuilding.
Do you know any residents who've gotten money from one of the nonprofits?
Yes, minimal amounts.
Just small amounts?
Small amounts, yes.
But all of the big fundraising, all of the big ticket fundraising doesn't feel like it's helping.
Yeah, it's not materializing.
Yeah.
That it's helping. Either people are keeping it quiet that they're receiving help, or they're just not getting it, which I believe they're just not getting it. There's a horse. That's a good sign.
Wait, a horse?
Yes. We have lots of horses in Altadena.
The morning of the fires, a friend came into the city and there were horses running straight down the street. just being
Wait, they're just horses just out
There's
here?
lots of horses, livestock up in Altadena.
Goodness.
Yeah.
I cannot believe a horse just is literally trotting down the street.
That's a great sign.
Wow.
And when I see horse poop in my driveway,
You're like, good sign.
Yes. People are coming home.
People don't normally welcome horse poop.
Right.
But in this case,
It's just hay.
come on, poop.
It's just hay.
That is amazing.
Yes. The movie about the Compton Cowboys, we got them up here too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have these mountains to the north and to the east, and what happens is the winds kind of butt up against those mountains. They kind of go over the mountains, and then they kind of come crashing down on the other side and accelerate as they do so. So it's not only those little gaps, between the mountains. The winds that don't go funneling through the gaps can also just kind of come riding up and over.
Almost kind of like impossible to even, I guess, conceive of it. But what does recovery even look like from your point of view?
Recovery isn't a thought process. It's more survival of what we're going through. Life is still happening. I think that's the hardest part that people don't understand. They're thinking about everybody's life from the fire side of you lost everything. I mean, losing completely every thought process. When you lose everything, people think, oh, the things that could be replaced, but there's so many memories that can't be replaced. So you're talking about examples of my brother who was murdered in Pasadena, in Altadena, all of his stuff, all of his memories, everything that was supposed to be passed down to his daughters and his children are all gone. When you talk about my brother who died from diabetes, all the memories of our childhood memories, all those are gone. When you talk about, so it's bringing up new deaths. My father, his ashes, forgetting that his ashes, like, oh yeah, he's right there. Like I have to go back and figure out how to get that. And it's all those memories. So the loss keeps happening and it keeps continuing. Then you move into regular life, because life is still life. So then, my uncle just passed and just buried him a week ago. So when you talk about recovery, then everybody's displaced. My wife is in Harupa Valley with my child, who's a year and a half. My mother was in Los Angeles when all this happened, meaning I took her to her sister's house. Then my son was bouncing from hotel to hotel. I'm in the car half of the time, laying on people's couches, Rasan's couch or whoever's couch, trying to figure out how I'm going to put everybody in place. Still having to deal with my sister's death, burial, memorial, all that different stuff that still hasn't fully happened. Life just continues to hit you. It rips families apart. And the reason I'm being so transparent with everything is people don't really understand what it's gone through. It has ripped my family apart, meaning me and my wife will not make it. So that separation, not because we were at odds, but because this fire has literally ripped family completely apart.
For you, there's a different recovery process because you were a renter.
Yes.
And so how is that recovery process different? What does recovery look like for you?
Well, my family, unfortunately, like many others, we did not have renter's insurance. Again, being in an urban wildfire is just not something that you ever contemplate. And so, in fact, we were underinsured. And so we've been working through the numerous processes of FEMA, nonprofit organizations that have stepped up to assist. But we were just able to move into our, I don't even know what to call it, temporary home, long-term temporary home this past weekend. And unfortunately, we were not able to stay in Pasadena for numerous reasons, price gouging, just simple supply and demand, which Pasadena and Altadena were both impacted before the fire just due to regular California market conditions. And now it's even worse. And so we were able to secure a spot right outside of Pasadena, but I've never willfully chosen to live outside of Pasadena, so that's something that's heavy on me as well, but at least I'm able to stay close. But for many renters, they have not been able to stay close. Again, I knew we were under market in Altadena, but not as far under as some of the rents that we're seeing, which was, you know, $4,000, $5,000 for even simple 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartments, townhouses, even houses. And in my mind, it would be very irresponsible, even though we have the money, to go and pay $5,000 a month for rent when, like, literally we have just lost everything. And so in terms of recovery, like, it's overwhelming to think of all the things that we've lost, especially those things that are irreplaceable. I've lived in Pasadena all of my life, but Altadena is the only home that my daughter, who's 7 years old, has only known. We brought her over the threshold to bring her home from the hospital. I had her, you know, umbilical cord, baby items, photo albums from family members that have passed away. I served on city council in Pasadena. I lost all records of, you know, my elections, certificates, proclamations, kindergarten pictures, just her Christmas decorations that she made every year, just things that will never, ever be replaced.
And it's tearing our community up in a way that people don't understand. And the day-to-day to try to survive and live, everybody thinks it's getting better. So it's not. It's on my way here, let's be all the way transparent. On my way here, driving here, I'm speaking to my mother. My mother's 85. My mother just told me after she's buried her daughter, 2 other kids before this, brother John Mee just passed. So she just buried her brother. She's tired. So on my way here, my mother's trying to prepare me for her not being here, which is a whole nother level. While you're sitting there still fighting. And she's telling me to stay strong and be okay. The cold part about even being in this bookstore is my mother knew Octavia Butler. My mother grew up with Maya Angelou. These were people that she was friends with. The reason I know Octavia Butler is because of her books and my mother's relationship with her and my mother's relationship with Maya Angelou. Growing up in LA and my family's lineage of being here since the 1800s and my grandmother establishing Head Start and changing the whole education system for Los Angeles, which she has a school named after her, which ironically, when they did the raids, I mean, when they're doing, ICE is doing a thing, now I have another thing to deal with because just found out my cousin, this is how crazy, I'm giving you guys just real time at this point. ICE, I guess, raided an elementary school graduation. Guess whose campus that was on? That's my grandmother's school. That's Gratz Elementary that they literally raided. So my cousin's like, what are you gonna do about it now? So it's literally this ongoing fight that's where you see no refuge. So when you say recovery, you're talking about people who are fighting every day just to breathe, just to make it. Everybody's trying to speak positive because that's what you're supposed to do. But that's not how everybody feels.
The devastation is horrible, worse than I could ever think of. But the silver lining is the community. For our household, we didn't have enough insurance. Now that's a whole nother story with our insurance company, and when I can, they will get fired. But I need them right now. But our community has come together with GoFundMes, friends and family, people we don't know, organizations we don't know. They have just really come through because we didn't know how we were going to make it. And at this point, I feel confident that we will be able to make it in an apartment until we get it back into our home without having to pay mortgage and rent at the same time. And that was huge. That was huge because I refused to sign a lease when I didn't know if we could afford to pay it for at least 3 years. And so the community has really, really stepped up, and I can't do anything other than be grateful for them, because it has been an amazing feeling. When you're really, really down and out, those that come to your rescue really show who they are. You know, when they say, when people show who you are, believe it. So our community has shown they love us. And I can't say anything other than thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to our community. It's been amazing.
So it seems that some people, is that a sign of rebuilding? If you're seeing the studs?
No, that's
advertising.
The remnant.
Oh,
You're talking about this, right?
This, yeah.
No, this was a home.
That's
it's
what's
concrete,
left.
so it didn't burn.
Oh, just the concrete is what's left.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were saying
and
that
the foundation.
The
You were
foundation's
saying there are
still
only
there.
15 permits
Yes,
to rebuild?
15 approved
And
to
how
rebuild.
many homes total in Altadena?
I'd say about 10,000.
So only 15.
Only
are approved.
15.
What is the explanation that folks are being given for how slow the permitting process is?
Too many requests, not enough manpower to approve them.
And lots of money
Money.
to pay for these permits.
Right.
Just gotta pay.
Because you also have to get insurance to cover you.
Yeah.
We're not even there yet.
Yeah.
It's about $50,000 just to start building.
Yeah.
You've got to pay
The architect.
That's $20,000 to $30,000, and then you got to pay for somebody to approve the architect's drawing, and then a whole bunch of other county and state permits. It's gonna cost you $50,000 plus,
Yeah.
$50,000 plus.
And then your home has to be assessed, and then if you are underinsured, the amount that your insurer assesses you for may
Yes.
not match your cost
And
to rebuild.
most of these homes, most of us were underinsured.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are coming out of their pocket $400,000, $500,000.
And these homes date back to 1920s, 30s?
1920s.
When did black folks started moving in here?
Well, our parents got here early
71.
70s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of
So
folks have had
between-
these homes for 50 years.
Yes.
60 years.
Yes, more. And our parents were young.
Yeah.
They were young
Very young, early
homeowners.
20s. And a lot of black families lived here because their parents worked at JPL, which is a part of NASA. So there's a whole little city
Yeah.
NASA owns just a few blocks down. And so a lot of people were able to rise above poverty and make middle class wages working at JPL. They employ a lot of people in the area.
That's how our family
That's how
got
our
here. My
family
dad
got
worked
here.
for JPL.
Yeah.
And you were saying that the likelihood is that's not a construction trailer.
No.
That trailer there.
No,
No.
somebody is
Can
most
you flip
likely
around
living
and
in
see
there.
that? You see that there? So that looks to me like it would be a construction trailer, but you're saying probably someone's probably staying there.
Yes.
Absolutely. There is nowhere else to go. And this person looks like they still have property, copper thieves, so they're probably protecting their property, protecting what's left.
So the research on climate change and these wildfires in Southern California says that by the year 2100, we're going to be seeing about a 75% increase in burn area for the state of California. That's an exceptional stat that is extremely concerning as we move forward here over the next, several decades.
I always say there's 3 degrees of separation in Pasadena, Altadena, because we're all either born here, grew up here, went to school here, your grandma taught me, or someone else I know. My best friend's parents lost their house in Altadena. My line sister lost her house. In fact, half of our sorority lost their homes, and many of them are elders. And so I just think of how I'm feeling at a youngish 45 years old and the impacts on me, but then I think of my parents who have lived in Pasadena for 50 years, and my dad is 86, my mom is 74, and I cannot even imagine, even though they had some impacts of smoke and damage and couldn't be in their home for a month, for them to not be able to come back to their home, and that's always been our home base. Wherever we are in the world, we know we can always go home. And in fact, when I was on the city council, I used to tell people, nobody if anybody says they were looking for me, they were not, because everybody knows we've been on the same house in the same corner for the last, since 1976. And for so many families that I know personally, like that's just not the case anymore because the house is not there. Home-based, generational wealth, like it's just absolutely devastating.
Everybody's dying on the inside, and it's almost like you don't have a choice. That's the real truth. The truth is you don't have a choice. It's either that or die. It's either that, get drunk, go do drugs, go do whatever, which I could never do because that's why my father wasn't in my life, because he chose drugs. So that's one thing that I said I would always choose, is to be a father.
And what is missing in the recovery process? What's going wrong in your view?
I think that well, number one, for sure, I think renters are being left out of the process for numerous reasons. Of course, we definitely feel for all of the homeowners that lost their homes, but Altadena is a tight-knit community, and a lot of the renters were longtime renters. We were in our home for almost 10 years. I know others who were in their homes for 15 years, renting for 15 years, 20 years, and even insofar as where we live, my landlord is also a SORR, and they had 5 Black families in townhouses that they own. They also had impacts to their own home in Altadena and another building that they own. And so like the combination of the levels of impact that this has affected, like I don't put anything past saying that, regardless of what your income level or socioeconomic level was before this fire, like nobody deserves to go through this. And even if you have all the money in the world and you have the money to rebuild tomorrow, that's still not going to happen just because of bureaucracy and insurance companies and everything else that's outside of our control.
I've been in Altadena my whole life. So I've been a community leader because of my grandmother and because of my mother. My mother, I come from a faith background, which faith was instilled in me as a child my whole life. And I just had the world of being involved in 2 faiths fully, where Christianity and Islam, I literally was brought up under, because my mother converted to Islam and my grandmother and my whole family was Christian. So I was always in the church and in the mosque. My mother helped establish Masjid Al-Taqwa, was one of the founders and was a pillar in the community, doing the same thing as in community and bringing what Altadena looks like. She's been in Altadena for the last 60 plus years, 70 years. To say the least, this is waking up to a nightmare. So when you say recovery again, we don't even believe it's real. As a community, we still wake up and try to act like it's some dream that keeps happening and we can't process it. So again, when taking each step and learning that this is the absolute worst thing that people can go to. Like I said, I've been through gang violence, I've been through the crack epidemic time periods and all of that stuff, which, to give credence, like I said, my brother was murdered and that was the worst time in my life. I lost my grandmother, who was our matriarch, all of that, went to a funeral every month for that year when that happened. And this is 100 times worse. Is to kind of give some type of perspective of what it feels like, because you literally are waking up in a nightmare every day. Everybody's recovery, you're signing a lease for a year, then what? You have to build back a home, you have to do all these different things that has to happen. You have to have the finances, then your community has to be built back. And all of that is daunting. I need my mother to be able to see her house built back. So that means it has to be done in record time, because she doesn't even know how long she's gonna be here day to day. And for me, I can't handle her not being here, because my mother is who as every little black boy, has been the center of everything for me, and who's instilled all of these values in me to be strong and to push through, as she's telling me this while I'm on my way here. And I'm telling her, and she's like, the reason I have breath is because you continue to ask me to have breath. And I do need her to continue to have breath. I don't have a path without her not being here. Because what am I building at that point? My family's already been ripped apart. My neighborhood and my family, it's like, what am I going to create at that point, or how am I going to move? It's a million questions that you're cycling and figuring out, on top of fighting for a community, getting legislation passed, which is a whole nother life, protecting the housing and all that for Altadena and Palisades. So with that fight, that's a whole nother fight, which trying to make sure we have the resources, make sure that black people are at the front of those resources. And we need so much help nationally, I believe, because I believe this tragedy is a way to set a precedence of how a community can come back. So much is needed for that. So many resources. When people think that it just goes away, it actually gets worse. People haven't even processed the loss that they've had at all. So that's not going to be for a year. And when you say recovery, that's not going to be until we get back into our homes and know that we can.
So as a business owner here with an iconic bookstore, the only black bookstore in this community, when you look at what's happened with the Eaton Fire and the aftermath, do you believe that 50 years from now, there will still be a black Altadena community?
I don't know. I have a tremendous amount of hope. I know that we are resilient, but the numbers weren't looking good for us pre-Eaton Fire. We were hovering around 18%. And so I do worry a lot about what's happened post-fire. Many people were uninsured, underinsured, or for whatever reason, are not able or have the desire to rebuild. And so I know that there is a vibrant black community here who wants to stay here. I just don't know that we can figure out how to purchase it quick enough. Yeah. So, and I say that as someone who lives in Altadena, in the fire zone. Like on my street, we had over 100 houses. There are 12 left, and my house happens to be one of them. I'm just getting back home after, having to have the home gutted. And, but sometimes I'm like, we're kind of one of the lucky ones, but I don't know if it's safe to be there. We're still surrounded by ash and, lead and asbestos, but I don't have any money to go anywhere. I have a mortgage that I still need to pay. We were paying, so like there are these things. And so 50 years from now, oh my gosh, I hope and I pray, and I'm gonna keep doing everything that I can possibly do to ensure that the landscape of Altadena is reflecting, our presence in Altadena, and so I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. If you can put yourself forward 50 years from now, do you have faith that there will still be a black Altadena?
That's a loaded question, Joy. I think I can speak for both of us when I say that we're very hopeful, because the alternative would be even more devastating than the Eaton fires itself. This experience has been super traumatic, and watching your neighborhood go to ashes, it changes you forever. And I'm hoping that my children can have the experience that me and Nicole had in Altadena. Yeah. And it was a very Black experience, but it was beautiful and it was ours. So I'm very hopeful that my children will have that. Our children will have that too.
Thank you to Natalie LaForge and her twin sister, Nicole Stevens, for taking us through their neighborhood and introducing us to their friends and neighbors. And Joteka Edie for introducing us to the Octavia Butler bookshelf experience. And Nikki High for allowing us to do interviews in her fabulous and wonderful store. And all of the local residents who spoke with us and shared their stories with us, thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's hoping the state of California and the officials in charge get busy making these families whole. Thank you for watching this special episode of The Joy Reid Show. Please be sure to hit like and subscribe and share this episode with a friend. We'll see you on the next episode of The Joy Reid Show.
Getting back to the basics, grassroots level. Let me dig a little deeper with the shovel. Plenty can't tell the forest from the trees that I'm hard to detect. Like a black hole in the dark. Injustice anywhere, it's a threat to justice everywhere. Let me make this clear, I got a bone to pick. And I'll never fear the threat of poverty. They don't want to talk about it, they rather party. So I'm a real talk about it, for sure.